Welcome back to this environmental series on CNC3. My guests are the ebullient Buddy Miller, Vice President of Hunters Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. Christopher Starr, who is a zoologist and a senior lecturer at UWI. We were talking about that whole problem of the animals in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, I mean, could they get to the point where they could actually be extinct if we continue hunting in this massive way?
Okay, let me say two things in response to that. One, it is very, very unfortunate that all the persons who are writing letters to the newspapers, etc., saying stop the hunting and talking about the decimation of the animals, very few of them go into the forest. Very few of them have any first-hand knowledge of what animals are there or not there. Very few of them can even recognize the difference between a manicou and an armadillo. Mm-hmm. But they talk about the decimation and the pressures on the animals. We are the hunters. I spend more than half my year in the forest, all over Trinidad, from Matlock to Toco, from Cedros to Mearo. I am in the forest, I am in the wild. I know at first hand, I interface with every hunter out there. They all belong to the same organization with me. I know at first hand what's happening out there. And I can tell you categorically, and there is no one, I challenge anyone in Trinidad to dispute this, that we know that there is no decimation of animals, and in fact there are more deer today than there were 20 years ago, many more.
Let me ask you this, Buddy. Why do you like hunting?
Why do I like hunting? For the same reason that some people like fishing, for the same reason that some people like soccer. It's a pastime that you got attached to. I love the outdoors. I am happiest out there, either diving. I've spent my first 20 years of life under the sea, and I've spent the rest of it so far in Trinidad running through the forest. I just love the outdoors.
Dr. Starr, you've been here for quite a few years. You've said you've eaten the cascadura, so you're now a Trini.
I'm obliged to did here.
Okay, so you're now a Trini. Why do you think we like wild meat so much?
Oh, I think there's a fetish for wild meat. It's really quite ridiculous. I mean, people have got this idea that if they eat wild meat, they're going to perform better in a certain way. I mean,
Have any tests been done on this?
Well, as far as I know, nobody's going to, to admit to it. But I mean, there are other things. There are other chemicals that are far more effective, so I'm told. But when Buddy was talking about extermination of wildlife, he very carefully did not mention the red brocket deer in Tobago, which has been hunted to extinction, right, Bud?
Is that true?
Yes, as best we know it is. But the Tobago situation and the Trinidad situation are, as different as night and day.
Are the laws different on the two islands?
The laws are exactly the same.
Well, why should it be different?
When you fly in and out of Trinidad, once you have left Piarco, the first thing you do is fly over the northern range. If you ever look down, you'll see a massive expanse of forest. Mm-hmm. That forest in the whole central portion is high, precipitous. It is ugly terrain, if you want to term it such. No one hunts in that vast. That's a vast natural sanctuary. No one goes in there because it is so onerous and dangerous to get there. And if you shoot a deer inside there, there is no way you can get it out before it starts to rot.
So you're saying the only reason that they don't hunt the deer here is that it's difficult.
Inaccessible.
But if it were accessible, they'd hunt it to extinction.
To extinction,
doesn't the same thing apply to almost any situation in our lives?
Well, I mean...
Now we also have an identical situation if you go down into the Trinity Hills. Again, to get up and into those hills, no hunter goes up there. I have hunted the foothills and the fringes of the Trinity Hills, and I can tell you that no hunter, it's another natural sanctuary we have.
Ira, let's find some common ground between Buddy and me. I think we can do that. Bud has just said that he likes to go out hunting, that it's part of a fun activity, for much the same reason some people like to play football, for instance.
Sure.
And I think that's right. And Bud, I think that same answer would probably be given by most of the thousands of your members, right? That's pretty much the same reason. Okay, are you ready to come on board as saying that the commercial sale of wild meat should be discontinued and that the possession of wild meat in the closed season should be banned? It has, no, I mean, you've certainly got no commercial interest in it.
Am I allowed to answer yours?
I think so. Please do.
Let's start with the last one first. The possession of wild meat in the close season is banned. And this was an initiative of the hunters by law.
Excellent. You've done something right, Bud. I congratulate
By
you.
law, we fought for this for many, many years. And it was only when Dr. Reza Mohammed was the minister, he himself, with his brother and father being avid hunters, he pushed it through for us.
That's
and
why.
we have banned the possession, simple possession. No, this doesn't apply if you go down to Crystal Stream on the weekends, in the Crystal Stream Junction this month in October, in September, or any month, you will discover why the laws are not always observed in this country.
That's what I wanted to ask you. You say they've been banned. Who enforces this? Similarly, let's talk about the poaching problem. It's an issue. Is there anybody watching? Is there anybody bringing poachers to
They have
task?
disbanded the Honorary Game Warden program. We have been members of that program since its inception. I myself was one of the inaugural members of that committee. And I have served every day of every year under the Honorary Game Wardens. I have done patrols in all parts of this country. I've arrested policemen caught breaking the game laws. Right? So when Krista tells me about coming on board, we are really sometimes the only ones on board because the police are not out there helping. The other, forgive the term, tree huggers are all carefully sitting at home in air-conditioned houses or offices and writing. None of them come up patrol the beaches with us during the turtle season. None of them come and go out there when we go after the poachers.
So let's talk about the solution.
Really?
Who should go after the poachers?
The game wardens.
And why are they not doing so?
Because the game wardens, I interfaced very closely with the game wardens for several years, being on the admin committee for the honorary game wardens, and we work together with the game wardens. The game wardens have taken a position openly in meetings with us, with the conservator who is their boss. They are not prepared to work any longer until their demands are met. This goes back now a couple of years. They all want personal firearms, they want personal bulletproof vests, they want unmarked vehicles, they want insurance for themselves in case they get injured out there in the forest. And if all those demands are not met, they are not functioning. As a consequence, they're not functioning. I challenge the conservator or anybody to tell us how many arrests they have made for the course of this year.
Okay, on that note, we need to take a short break. We'll be right back with more on this environmental series on CNC3. Stay with us.